There is a specific kind of silence that happens right after you make a catastrophic mistake in the markets. It isn't quiet in the room, but it feels quiet in your head. The world stops. You stare at the screen, watching the numbers flicker, and you feel a sudden, heavy heat rising in your chest. It's a mix of embarrassment, panic, and a deep, sinking realization that you just did exactly what you promised yourself you would never do again. You didn't just lose money. You lost control. And in that moment, a very dangerous switch flips in your brain. A primal voice wakes up and screams a single command at you. It says, "Fix this." It says, "Get it back." It says, "Do something right now to make this pain go away." That voice is the reason most traders fail. It isn't the market that destroys portfolios. It isn't algorithms or hedge funds or bad luck. It is the biological response to pain that forces you to speed up when every logical fiber of your being knows you should be slowing down. We need to have an honest conversation about what happens in the terrifying gap between losing money and losing everything, because that gap is where careers die. You know the feeling I am talking about. You start the week with a plan. You are disciplined. You are calm. Then you take a loss. Maybe it was a bad beat. Maybe you broke a rule. It doesn't matter. The red number hits your ledger. Suddenly, the plan feels too slow. The idea of waiting days for the perfect setup feels impossible because you are in a hole, and human beings panic when they are in holes. We are hardwired to claw our way out. In the real world, this instinct is a superpower. If you are behind on a project at work, you stay late, you drink more coffee, you type faster, and you catch up. If your car breaks down, you get out and push. In 99% of life, effort correlates with results. Trying harder fixes the problem. But the stock market is the one place on earth where your survival instincts are actively trying to kill you. The market is a paradox where trying harder usually means dying faster. When you try to force a trade to make back a loss, you are bringing a knife to a gunfight. You are trying to solve a mathematical problem with an emotional sledgehammer, and the market will punish you for it every single time. Let's look at the anatomy of the spiral. It starts with a shift in perception. I call this the hallucination phase. When you are calm and your account is at all-time highs, you look at a chart and you see the truth. You see that volume is low. You see that the trend is messy. You see that there is nothing to do. So you sit on your hands. But when you are down money, and that desperate need to recover kicks in, your brain literally changes how it processes visual information. You stop seeing what is there, and you start seeing what you need to be there. Suddenly, a choppy, dangerous chart looks like a breakout. A stock that is clearly crashing looks like a cheap reversal play. You aren't analyzing the market anymore. You are projecting your hope onto the screen. You are hallucinating opportunities because the alternative, doing nothing and accepting the loss, feels too painful to bear. So you take the trade. It's a C-grade setup that you convinced yourself was an A-grade setup. And of course, it fails. Now you are down even more. The pressure doubles. The desperation morphs into anger. You feel like the market is personally attacking you. You think, how is this possible? I am working so hard. I am analyzing so deep. I deserve a win. But the market doesn't care about what you deserve. It doesn't know you exist. It is just a relentless stream of data. And right now, you are fighting the current instead of riding it. This is where the math starts working against you. Most traders don't realize that their cognitive ability drops significantly when they are under financial stress. Studies have shown that financial anxiety mimics the effects of losing IQ points. So, when you are in a drawdown, you are literally operating with less brain power than when you are profitable. You are dumber, slower, and more emotional. Yet, this is the exact moment you decide to increase your volume. You decide to take more trades, faster trades, bigger trades. You are making the most complex, high-risk decisions of your life while you are in your least capable mental state. It is a recipe for disaster. Think about the insanity of that. If you were a surgeon and your hands were shaking because you were panicked, you wouldn't say, "Hand me the scalpel. Let's do this faster." You would step away from the table. But in trading, we grab the scalpel and we start slashing. We call it grinding. We tell ourselves we are being resilient. But we aren't. We are just bleeding out. The difference between the traders who make millions and the traders who blow up isn't that the professionals don't lose. They lose all the time. They go on losing streaks that would make you sick to your stomach. The difference is what they do next. The amateur tries to win the money back the same day. The professional accepts that the money is gone and shifts their entire focus to protecting what is left. This brings us to the most difficult skill in trading. It isn't reading charts. It isn't understanding macroeconomics. It is the ability to do absolutely nothing when your entire body is screaming at you to do something. We need to redefine patience. Patience sounds soft. It sounds passive. It sounds like waiting for a bus. But in trading, patience is an aggressive act. It is a weapon. Patience is the ability to sit in a burning room and not flinch until the fire goes out. When you are in a slump, you don't need a better strategy. You don't need a new indicator. You need to stop. I mean a full, hard stop. You need to enact a circuit breaker protocol for your own brain. The stock exchange has this built in. If the market drops too fast, they halt trading. They shut it down. Because they know that panic leads to irrational decisions that can crash the entire system. You need to be your own exchange regulator. Here is what that looks like practically. You take 2 losses in a row. You are angry. You want to click that buy button again to get instant relief. Instead, you physically stand up. You walk away from the desk. You go outside. You let the cold air hit your face. You force your physiology to reset. You have to break the dopamine loop that is keeping you glued to the screen. You need to remind yourself that the market will be there in an hour, it will be there tomorrow, and it will be there in 10 years. The opportunity is infinite, but your capital is finite. If you burn your chips today, you can't play tomorrow. The recovery from a drawdown is never a straight line up. That is the movie version. In reality, recovery is boring. It is slow. It is a grind. And this is why so many people fail at it. They want the hero trade. They want the one massive position that erases all the mistakes and puts them back in the green, so they can feel smart again. They are looking for a lottery ticket. But if you try to hit a home run when you are in a slump, you will strike out. True recovery happens in inches. It happens by waiting 3 days for one perfect, undeniable setup. You take it. You make a small profit. You don't celebrate. You don't double down. You go back to waiting. Maybe you wait another 2 days. You watch the market run without you. You watch other people bragging about their gains on social media. You feel the FOMO, but you do nothing. You wait for your pitch. Then it comes. You take another small bite. You stack another small win. Slowly, your confidence returns. Your vision clears. You start seeing the charts for what they actually are again. This process feels terrible. It feels like you aren't trying. It feels like you are leaving money on the table. But that boredom is the feeling of professional discipline. Excitement in trading is usually a sign that you are gambling. Boredom is a sign that you are executing a business plan. There's a concept I want you to burn into your mind called the prosecutor mindset. When you are desperate for a trade, you act like a defense attorney for every bad setup. You find reasons to defend the trade. You say, well, the volume is a bit low, but the news is good, and it's hitting this moving average, so I'll take it. You are arguing for the trade to exist. I want you to flip that. I want you to become the prosecutor. When you see a setup, your job is to destroy it. Your job is to find every single reason why that trade is garbage. Ask yourself, what is the worst-case scenario? Why might this fail? Is this really an A+ setup, or am I just bored? Is this really my edge? Or am I just trying to pay for the loss I took this morning? If you can find a solid reason to say no, you walk away. You only take the trade if the prosecutor in your head has no case. You only take the trade if it is so obvious, so clean, and so undeniable that it would be stupid not to take it. This filter is painful because it means you will trade less. You might sit there for 3 days and not click a button. But those 3 days of silence are what save your account. That silence is where the money is made. It is made by not losing it on stupid impulsive decisions. We have to talk about the ego. The ego is the invisible hand that clicks the mouse when you know you shouldn't. The ego hates losing. It takes a red day as a personal insult. It says, I am smarter than this. I can predict this. And it demands that you prove it. But the market is a graveyard for egos. The market is a chaotic, indifferent beast. It humbles everyone eventually. The only way to survive is to kill the ego before it kills your account. You have to reach a point where you don't care about looking smart. You have to care more about your survival than your pride. If you are wrong, you are wrong. Cut it. Taking a small loss is not a failure. It is a business expense. It is the cost of doing business. But holding a loser because you hope it turns around? Adding to a loser because you refuse to accept you were wrong? Revenge trading to prove a point? That is not trading. That is arson. You are burning your own house down. Think about the version of yourself 10 years from now. If you want to be doing this in a decade, you have to survive today. You cannot survive if you are constantly exposing yourself to ruin risk every time you get emotional. You have to build a wall between your feelings and your fingers. You have to become a robot in execution, even while you are a human in emotion. It is okay to feel angry. It is okay to feel frustrated. It is okay to want to scream. But it is not okay to let those feelings click the mouse. That is the only rule that matters. When you start treating your capital like oxygen, everything changes. You realize that a missed opportunity is not a problem. There is always another bus coming. But a blown account is fatal. You can't catch the next bus if you are dead. This perspective shift takes the pressure off. You stop trying to force the market to pay you a salary every day. You start letting the market come to you. You become a sniper. A sniper doesn't run around the battlefield, firing a machine gun in every direction, hoping to hit something. A sniper lies in the mud for 3 days, waiting, watching, calculating. They might only take one shot, but that shot hits. When you are in a drawdown, you have to become the sniper. You have to stop running. You have to get down in the mud and wait. This is the hardest thing you will ever do. It is harder than learning technical analysis. It is harder than understanding fundamentals. Mastering your own impulse control is the final boss of trading. So, the next time you feel that heat rising in your chest, the next time the red numbers are mocking you and that voice screams, "Fix it now," I want you to remember this. That voice is a liar. That voice is a saboteur. Do the opposite. Lean back. Take your hands off the keyboard. Close the laptop. Choose to survive. Because the market will be here tomorrow. The only question is, will you? The traders who make it aren't the ones who never fall down. They are the ones who don't dig the hole deeper when they do. They are the ones who know that sometimes the most profitable trade you can make is the one you don't take. Trading is a game of longevity. It is a marathon that forces you to sprint, but you have to resist that urge. You have to walk. You have to breathe. You have to wait. And if you can do that, if you can master the art of doing absolutely nothing when everything in you wants to fight, then you have an edge that no algorithm can ever beat. You have control over yourself. And in this game, that is the only thing that counts.